Hello, everybody. Thank you guys for joining us today again on a wonderful Sunday night, guys. Wow. I'm here with my boy Ryan. I'm here with my boy Dante, guys. Let's jump right into the intro as per usual. Hello, guys. Thank you guys for joining us today on another wonderful night. This is the HTownRundown Houston Rockets basketball podcast here, and I'm joined with my regular guy, Dante. Man, Dante, how are you, bro? How you been, man? Yeah, man.
Man, I'm doing great, man. Doing great, man. Another episode, another show. Glad to have our boy Ryan back on again. It's like I say, NBA is heating up. We got 2-3-0 leads and look like got a Celtics and Boston clash for the finals. But after that, we right into some draft, man. Right into some draft talk.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely, man. Ryan, speaking of, thank you for coming back once again in a back-to-back episode. How are you, bro?
Thank you for having me. I'm great. It's great to be back.
Good, man. Good. Look at this, man. We all cheery today, guys. If you guys aren't for sure where to find the channel at, guys, be sure to subscribe to the HTown Rundown. You can see all the links down below. Be sure to follow all of us individually. You got my boy Dante down there, Coach Dante 31. He's got Instagram, X, as well as YouTube. You got Ryan, man. That's at Ryan DIAM15 for his X account, as well as Instagram, guys. Check that out too, man. It's fire over there. And then me, your main host, Drip2Piece_GAWD on X and Drip2Piece_GAWD on Instagram. Let's jump right into it, right? We got some guys we want to talk about for the draft, right? Thank you again, Brooklyn. I just got to say it. Getting us the number 3 pick. The draft gods blessed us once again. It's absolutely phenomenal. We've been talking about a lot of guys, but somebody that's kind of interesting that we want to talk about is this guy, Dillingham. So, Ryan, you were talking about this guy. You seem pretty interested in him. So I'm kind of interested. Why do you think he'd be a good fit at number 3 first, but also for the team?
Well, the thing about Robert Dillingham, yes, he's short, but he's fast. And a lot of the players on our team, they have a lot of speed. And I think that's just something that he can really blend in well with our team. So I don't think that he can be a bad pickup. And we're having a workout with him on Monday. I don't know if that's put out yet, but we're working out with him on Monday.
Okay, all right. So he's quick. He's got some good things going for him. So what would you say is like a strength for him? Like, what's is his speed his top thing? Is that what he's known for?
Oh yeah, his speed. He's really fast. And he has a good quick first step. So I think that's another thing to account for if we draft him.
That's good because sometimes our quick first step guy doesn't want to be too quick. Sometimes he gets beat by his defender. So it is nice to see that we might be able to get a guy. So he averaged about 15 points, 3 boards, 4 assists in his season for UConn, right? He's the guy at UConn, or is he out at Kentucky?
He was at Kentucky off the bench.
Off the bench, wow, and he averaged 15 points off the bench.
Pretty sure.
Actually pretty good. He's about 6'3", but his wingspan is only 6'3", right? So he's going to be potentially a defensive liability. However, he did shoot a whopping 44.4% from 3. So that's something we could always use more of, is these guys off of the bench, but let alone being able to guy that can hit the 3, right? He ending up leading Kentucky in assists and was second in scoring for Kentucky, which is really nice to see. But the thing that's really, really nice to see is his efficient pick and roll and low turnover rate, right? He can efficiently run the pick and roll, like I just said, but also be able to make the right pass, either score, dish out of it, and everything like that. It's really nice to see. But other things, some of his shortcomings,
just off that pick and roll as well. Steven Adams will have him off the bench next year. So to have a pick and roll off the bench of Dillingham and Steven Adams, it could work out really well for us.
It could, yeah, it really could. Tell me about his weaknesses. It looks like obviously his height. That's going to be the biggest thing. Is 6'3", right? He's a 6'3" 2 guard.
Height, and he's also small.
Yeah,
Like,
like 170.
I'm not exactly sure what his weight is, but he's a very small point guard, and I think that's a weakness.
For sure. I mean, you also want to look at his shot selection too. Sometimes he kind of likes to just put his shot up, right? He wants to just get in there, and he's a scorer. However, that's kind of a scoring mentality, right? Like you look at Jordan Clarkson, who has been fairly successful in his time in the league. Getting contracts, whatnot. Playing solid at Utah, almost ended up winning another Six Man of the Year award. He's pretty good, and he doesn't necessarily have the best shot selection, but I mean, when he's hot, right? He's hitting everything. So that's something also to kind of look forward to. I'm not saying that Dillingham is a Clarkson guy, but he could be one of those types, right? If he gets hot, he's going. I mean, 44% from three. That's not every day you're seeing that, right? 44% from three is pretty nice.
Well, I will stand on what I said last podcast. Reed Shepard, or we trade the pick. I'm gonna
right. Fair, man. Fair.
But Rob Dillingham, he won't be. He's not a bad other option.
Not a bad other option. Yeah. I mean, really, from what I'm reading, I'm on hoopshype.com right now. They're just saying really his size and questionable defense. Which, I mean, you're with Ime, you're going to play defense. Otherwise, you're not playing at all. So under Ime, defense, I'm not too worried about that. But just being able to be that kind of guy that's instant offense, he might be pretty good. Hoops Hype compares him to Trae Young, not necessarily that type of player, but being as talented as him with like the handle, the shot selection, and being able to hit tough shots. That could be something potentially there. Trae is a small guard that hits tough mid ranges, but I don't see him as a Trae Young type.
When I watch Rob Dillingham play, there's not like a player that comes to my mind because like it feels like he has his own way of playing the game. I don't really know how to explain it, but like it just looks like he's playing a different game out there. He's a little bit. I think he's a little bit crazy with the handle, but it works for him.
Yeah, he's a little erratic, and that's the thing. I think he'll be able to work on, especially coming into the NBA, because he's coming out of college, right? I mean, you're not expected to have the best handle. I mean, the man doesn't have the best handle, but it worked. For the most part, he got two shots, was able to and he was very, very
two former OTE members on the team. Can't be bad.
Right. It could be very interesting altogether. Dante, what's your input on Dillingham, man? I'm kind of interested. You're sitting there kind of quiet with the mic off, so I want to know. Tell me.
Yeah, I'll letting everybody get their stuff in on Dillingham. But my thoughts on Dillingham, I think for us, we do need we do need some shooting to open up the floor. We do. Dillingham would definitely help he's a very good shooter. He can put the ball on the floor. I know, like I say, we concerned a little bit about his defense, and he's small, but you do got, like, if you do put him on the floor, you do got just suppose you got Cam Whitmore, Tari Eason, and you got Amin Thompson on the floor with him, so you got defense on the floor that can cover for him being small. So I would say when we enter the draft, if we do pick at number 3, I would look for more of a shooter like a Ben Shepherd, or I will take Dillingham. I think Dillingham and Ben and I think Dillingham I think they will be definitely good, man. They would be definitely good choices. Or if we decide to trade backwards, I will be looking at a guy like Don't Connect from Tennessee, a guy that can light it up, that is a really good shooter, man. So I think we can never go wrong with enough shooting. I think that's one thing that we kind of lacked a little bit last year more when we struggled to score. So I think, I think we, I will go heavily. I will go on the offensive side of the ball and get a little bit more shooting. And I think Reed Shepard and, Dillingham will be a good choice. Or if we somehow trade down, and I will say Don't Connect will be a good choice. And again, we gotta consider all options, because we're in the top 3, so we do gotta really consider all options just in case. Not saying the player I got that I'm gonna talk about is gonna be picked, but again, we just like we said, Amin Thompson. We knew Amin Thompson was gonna be picked for a while, and also Donovan Clingan. Will Ime Udoka consider Donovan Clingan the big guy from UConn? Even though we do got Steven Adams right there. Will he consider to be the pick? But we'll see. But I like the idea of Rob Dillingham. He can score, he can shoot, and that he fits in something that we can use.
Yeah,
For sure. Yeah. Go ahead.
I mean, you did mention having a rotate or having 3 people in the lineup of Dillingham, Campbell Moore, and Amen Thompson. If we put all 3 of them out on the floor at one time, or if we did a lineup like Dillingham at the 1, Jalen at the 2, Cam at the 3, and Amen at the 4, that lineup, that's beating any other lineup in the league with speed.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
speed kills.
Yeah. We watched the OKC. Absolutely. I mean, we took the Mavs to 6, and in my opinion, I think OKC was playing. They were punching above their weight limit, right? And they were battling the Mavs pretty well, but because they have the speed and the length at the same time, they were a great transition team. They played great lengthy defense. That's something kind of similar we might be able to employ if we have a Rob Dillingham to kind of hide his defensive liabilities, right? Like like I said, he's short. He doesn't weigh a lot, so there's going to be some issues with that. But if he's got quick hands, right? If he can learn from Fred VanVleet on the team, right? Kind of how to use his size to his advantage, that would be something interesting. On the defensive side of the ball, I'm seeing comparisons right now of Lou Williams. How do you feel about that as an accurate comparison to what he could be around that level? Again, a little bit more erratic, so we would say like an erratic Lou Williams. Does that sound?
I think more of like an erratic Jamal Crawford.
Jamal Crawford. Wow, interesting.
That's
I mean, he's
an athlete. That's not a bad choice at all. Lou Williams, Jamal Crawford, they both one of the greatest 6 men to play this game. So yeah, bring that instant offense off the bench, scoring punch off the bench. Yeah, it definitely help us out.
But here, as a Rockets fan, it hurts me to say, but do y'all remember that when Patrick Beverley got hit by Steven Adams' screen? I think Adams was on the Thunder and Pat Bev was still on the Rockets. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, you got crushed, yeah.
So imagine we have Adams out there and we just have those 4 with the speed just running up and down the court.
Jeez.
No one's going to see that
done.
Adams screen coming.
It's going to be like if you're running Amen Thompson and Steven Adams, it's going to be like Russell Westbrook with less of a mid-range coming down the court every single time with Steven Adams. And we saw what that duo did. That was an insane duo. That pick and roll was phenomenal. You were not beating that. Either Adams was bumping you and he had an easy roll, or Russ was coming off the screen yamming on you. There was no in between, right? Being able to see that, or even Jalen Green pick and roll is going to be absolutely phenomenal. The guy who can set a very hard screen. And Rob Dillingham coming off the bench could be really fun as well.
And more than talking about Steven Adams, have y'all been seeing the work that Şengün has been putting in this offseason?
Yes.
He's been boxing, man.
Yeah, he's been boxing. He's going to come back this season stronger than he has been the past 3 seasons. It's going to be scary.
Scary hours. Oh, man. It's going to be very interesting, for sure. I'm definitely interested to see how Alperen's going to do. So, while we're on the topic of Alperen Şengün, what kind of plays do you think, or how do you think Rob Dillingham would play next to Şengün?
Screens,
pick and roll, constant. I think Şengün would really open up the floor, being able to let him, or would Rob Dillingham would open up the floor for Şengün, so he could put Şengün in the middle. And now we're playing, 4 out, right? Like we want to, but having Rob Dillingham, someone who's just this absolutely electric, fast, twitchy guard that's able to kind of, beat you off your feet, and now you're running pick and roll with Şengün, who is an absolute savant with the basketball. That's going to be really nasty. It's going to be really nasty if we end up picking him. Kind of like Dante said, though, I like the idea of if we know Rob Dillingham is going to be there at like 7, 8, just trade back, recoup assets, and pick Rob. I'm not sure how far he's projected to go. I've seen him somewhere at 7. So if that's something we could do, no problem. Get a couple second-round picks.
What pick do the Spurs have? Do they have 6?
Spurs, I think they have 4.
They have 4?
I believe they have 4. I think it's Atlanta Wizards.
Yeah, it's Atlanta Wizards, us. Then it must be Spurs and then Pistons. Man,
yep.
Sorry team, bro. I feel so bad for Pistons fans.
Yeah, man. Hey, one of these days, man. One of these days.
When?
I don't know. It's of no consequence to me, to be honest. But one of these days, I suppose.
Yeah. But no, I've been seeing a lot of reports about Dillingham and the Spurs.
Mm. And if that ends up being true, I mean, hey, we could if they really want Dillingham. We can talk to the Spurs, but who knows? These are all hypotheticals. That's very interesting. But yeah, if the Spurs end up picking Dillingham, that's all right. He'd be really fun next to Whitby for sure. But I like Rob next to Şengün. I think that's going to be a nice duo. And again, kind of what we were talking about with Jalen, if we end up picking Reed Shepherd at 3, or whatever we end up doing, I think that still puts a lot of pressure on Jalen if we end up picking a guard in general, right? In Rob Dillingham.
It's hard to say because it puts a lot of pressure on Jabari Smith and Tari, even if we get a backup big.
Agreed.
It's no matter what we draft, it's going to put pressure on any of our players.
Yep.
But especially if we draft a guard, because we know of Jalen's inconsistency, but we also know how good Jalen can be.
Agreed. Also, how the fan base has been, how the organization has acted towards Jalen, right? And with Ime not giving up on Jalen, I respect it, But if Ime is like, hey, I want this Rob guy, what's that saying about Jalen? That's the other thing that's pretty interesting. Or again, if we pick Reed, and it could all work out. It could all totally work out. But
it's not what that says about Jalen. It's what it says to Jalen. Does it tell Jalen that he needs to be consistent and play how he was playing in March at the beginning of the season?
That's just almost like drafting a quarterback when your original starting quarterback don't know you're drafting one. If you don't come to play, and you struggling, you could be replaced. You could be replaced by the next replacement. So that's what it's telling Jalen Green. If we drafted the guard, or someone like Reed Shepherd or Dillingham, hey, you got to come out. You got to come out and play. We need you to hit that all-star ceiling, Jalen Green, that we expect you to hit. Or not, we got somebody behind you that we drafted that's going to step in. So that puts a lot of pressure on Jalen Green if we do go to the guard position. And I do think we need to go to more of that shooting guard situation, the shooting guard position. And I think that's the route I could see us really going. So it does put pressure on Jalen Green a lot. That's just like drafting a backup quarterback when your original quarterback don't know you're drafting a quarterback, don't know your GM and owner drafting a quarterback. So that's telling you, hey, you don't got much time.
Right. Facts. Yeah, man. It's putting immediate pressure on even if we draft a guard. Obviously, Cam is probably going to be primarily like the 3, but that also puts pressure potentially on players like, I wouldn't say a men, but like Dylan Brooks. Like, hey, like if you don't pick up the slack, like, we already don't mind trading you, but if we pick this guy and he's really good and we're comfortable with moving a Cam Whitmore or Tari Eason to the 3, you're gone, right? Yeah, so just beware.
I can't believe he was shooting over 60% from 3 at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, man. Hey, when you hot, you hot.
Well, look, Preston, I know that you're a big Jalen Green fan. I'm a big Jalen Green fan. Dante, I'm not sure about you. I don't know if you're a big Jalen Green fan or not.
I love Jalen Green. I don't got no hate on Jalen Green.
When do we say enough is enough?
Okay, wow,
that's a tough
question, isn't it?
If he has another bad first half again,
we say enough is enough.
I say say enough is enough. You just gotta go ahead and do it.
If he's efficient all the way to Christmas, right? Like, he doesn't have, like, I'm talking like he needs to have at least like minimum a month where he is solidly efficient, right? That 58% true shooting. That's all I'm asking for. 58, right?
So what's the minimum for you?
So like I said, if he can hit and have one solid month before Christmas.
Okay.
If we get all the way up to Christmas.
And he has just one March run.
And it's like he's averaging like 14 on 40%. We got to do what's best for the team, right? And that's just what it is, I'm like, we just got to do what we got to do, And sometimes it's just a change of scenery. Sometimes the fan base is just too much, right? I mean, we saw Russell Westbrook with the Lakers, and it's not like Russ played terrible. He wasn't terrible. He wasn't great, but he wasn't terrible. And the Lakers the fans made death threats, and his family wouldn't even attend games.
Come on. Those are Lakers fans. But yes, you're
right.
No,
those are Lakers in general.
Right.
Yeah. And then he comes over to the Clippers, right? And this playoff series was a bad example, but last playoff series, I mean, dude was putting up a show against Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. I mean, he took that team to 6, I think, by himself. Kawhi played 2 games, right? Russ did everything that series. Paul George was, pandemic P as usual. and here we are. So it could be the same thing. You also think like the what's his name, Jordan Clarkson, right, for the Cavs. He was ass. He was not great for the Cavs. But then he goes on over to Utah, and he's putting up a show, doing 22 points per game on elite efficiency. So if we got to do, we got to do, right? I would like it to be later, right? But you can't be inconsistent all the way to Christmas. It's just too much. That's already past the in-season tournament. There's too much at stake at that point, especially if we're trying to be a playoff team. So, Christmas. What about you? What about you, Ryan? I'm interested.
First half of the season. I mean, it really breaks my heart. Like, seriously.
It's tough. It's tough. But these are the decisions they're going to have to make.
I came back from college for, I think it was over winter break. I went to the game against, it was the Jazz. I think Jalen Green had like 40, 41. You know what game I'm talking about? I think it was against the Jazz.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, that game was ridiculous.
Yeah, he went crazy, man. Absolutely stellar.
He is.
Yep. He needs to fine tune his stellarness. That's what he needs to do. Right?
It must have been when I came back for spring break, I guess. It was March. So, yeah, that's when it was.
Yeah, you got to do what you got to do, man. But let's reel it back in, man. We talk about Jalen Green on this podcast so much just because we love the player, but we also want what's the best for the Houston Rockets, right? And at the end of the day, that's just what it is. But we did have a great discourse on Rob Dillingham. I believe Dante brought a player he wanted to talk about. I'm very interested in this guy, so please tell me all about this guy, Dante. Who is this man?
Okay, so we talking about Stephon Castle. Stephon Castle is a national champion for the UConn Huskies this year, along with his teammate Donovan Clingan. Played in 34 games, averaged 11 points, 4.7 rebounds, 3 assists. He shot 75% from the free throw line. He's a very good defender, great defender. 6'6", average 2 blocks per game. He's very versatile. He has an opportunity to be a very good playmaker, very great playmaker as well. He has very good playmaking upside. The one thing about it, I'm not saying, I'll say we got to consider all prospects because again, these are the guys that's going to be most talked about. But again, the only thing about it is his shooting ability. But again, he shows some type of shooting ability. When you shoot 75% from the free throw line, that really shows your ability that you could be able to shoot when you get into the next level. He shot 26% from the 3-point line. So again, not saying that we're gonna drop them. Like I said, I'm more on deck to become to get us a shooter, more of a shooting guy, and more of an offensive guy. But this prospect right here could be great, could be very good, and it looks like it will look like an Ime Udoka pick. Guy got long arms, 6'6" height. Very stellar on defense. He can get over ball screens very much. He got very good post defense. He's very long, and plus he's 215 pounds, man. He's 215 pounds, so he's a pretty big old tall guard, and he's got the ability to be a playmaker. And we heard, like I said, I was looking at, the Rockets podcast. Our guys, Jackson Gatlin and Madison Moore, and Madison Moore hit the nail right on the head about Stephon Castle. So he will be a definitely interesting choice. Like, of course, I'm more on picking a guard that can really open up the floor and shoot the basketball. But Stephon Castle, it just seems like Ime Udoka pick. He loves toughness. He loves guys that can play good defense. And Stephon Castle, man, this guy's a stud on the defensive side of the basketball.
He looks like it. I like that you used the term Ime guy because he looks like a two-way guy. He kind of, I mean, I don't want to give him an inaccurate kind of showing, but I mean, he kind of reminds me of like Jaylen Brown, a 6'6" guard that can defend the 1 through 4 easily.
Not a great shooter.
Yeah, right. Yeah, not a great shooter.
Jaylen Brown was not listed as a great shooter coming out of Cal, and you've seen what he can do now.
Exactly. Yeah, he's got he's got some upside to him. I mean, one of the things is like, his pull-up game isn't necessarily a game pause, but like that's fine because we're not going to be expecting him to do too much of that. Anyway, especially on this kind of team. But I don't know. He's kind of slow. He's got like burst and elevation, but it looks like he's kind of slower. I'm watching some of his highlights right now on YouTube from Bleacher Report, and he seems a little bit slower coming off some of these on ball and off ball screens. And like on some fast breaks, he doesn't seem to like yam that. Like he's not getting off the ground too high. But maybe he's not. Like maybe he's saving his strength for like separation and whatnot instead of trying to do cool, flashy dunks, which is absolutely fine if that's his goal. But I mean, he recorded just one single isolation field goal all season. That's kind of interesting to see because like ISO is like, like that's kind of like everyone goes to ISO. Get out of the way, let me get my bucket, next play. So the fact that he recorded only one isolation bucket in the entire season is pretty interesting. I don't want to say alarming, but it is a question for sure. Like, is he a guy that's going to be able to take his guys off the dribble in one-on-one scenarios, especially if he's got an issue like with self-shot creation, right? So
could that also be a ball handling problem?
Yes. Yep. And we already have a ball handler at 2 that's not exactly.
Yeah, he's not gonna be a guard, a big forward that's not gonna be able to. He's not gonna be a guard that's gonna ball handle. He's just gonna be a person. He can play without the bat. He can play without the basketball.
More of a pass first.
He's gonna be more of a pass first type of guy and a defensive stud, a defensive menace. But I'll say he can be an elite playmaker. He can be an elite playmaker when the ball is in it, and when the ball is in his hand, he does have some of that ability to handle the ball and be a very good passer. But most of his damage, he's going to be able to do on the defensive side of the ball. He's going to be able to do on the defensive ball. He's going to be able to. He makes good cuts. He's a good finisher at the rim, also. And this guy, this guy just screams Ime Udoka. But again, I'm more over on a route to to go with more like a shooting guard, more like a shooter that can make shots, that can really actually make shots.
You know who Stephon Castle really reminds me of, the way we're talking about him, pass first point guard, and who's very good on the defensive end? Amen Thompson, and he can't shoot very well either.
Yup. He can't shoot at all. He can't shoot very well, and then can't shoot for shit right now, bro.
Hey! I'm a big Amen fan. It's gonna change. Swear.
It will. It will. But right now, I mean, you can't lie, bro. That form is it's ass.
I remember we did talk about that on our draft process press last year. That Press wasn't a big fan of Amen Thompson coming out of the draft because the ability not shoot. But again, he found ways to impact the game in other positions Like I say, his defensive versatility was really good. This guy got straight up robbed off the all defensive team, and his ability to cut slash to the basket and cut and be a great playmaker. That's something that reminds me of really Stephon Castle can really do for us if we do draft him.
And look, Stephon Castle reminds me of Amen Thompson, but don't get me wrong. Mm-hmm. He is not Amen Thompson.
Right. Okay, so say we end up going for Stephon Castle, right? Likely again, trading back to recoup assets and end up picking him, right? He seems like the most Ime guy available, right? I want to say like Donovan Clingan is probably might be his go-to just because his defensive ability, and then Reed Shepherd at 2, and then Castle at 3. That's probably what he's looking at in terms of what we would be able to pick physically, right? So with that being said, Stephon Castle, what are some lineups you guys would be interested in seeing with this guy? He's not shooting very well, so having him, Amen, and Şengün and Steven Adams out there would be no. that would be a no-go.
Air break.
Yeah, that would be
air break after air break.
Yeah, so that's not something I'm trying to enjoy seeing. That would be terrible. It'd be like Game 7 all over again. I'm not going 0-27.
No.
So let's see some lineups.
Have you ever seen that picture of Ben Simmons in an astronaut suit, and it said, "Shoot the ball or go to the moon" or whatever?
Yeah.
You seen that?
Yeah,
yes.
That would be the Rockets. And
Do you remember Bubble Woj from the bubble where there was a fake Woj account that was called Bubble Woj and they had like all the NBA memes?
yes.
You remember seeing a picture of Lonzo Ball and it was just a brick? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, man.
Bro, I love the
Um,
bubble. Bubble Woj, my goat.
Bubble Woj. Shout out Bubble Woj on X.
Shout out Bubble Woj. I don't know if you're still active, but if you're out there, you're in my heart.
So what are some lineups we'd be interested in seeing with this Stephon Castle? How can we have him effectively out on the court next to Şengün?
I mean, you will have to have a lineup. You definitely gonna put Şengün out there. But if you don't have a Şengün out there, you definitely use a lineup. You can definitely put Fred VanVleet out there. You can definitely use Jalen Green out there. You keep him at the 3. And again, I mean, it depends on if I know far as right now, you got Steven Adams and you got him right. You got LP, so you definitely gonna need LP on the floor just for that part right there. Then you can either go Dylan Brooks. You can either go Dylan Brooks or Count Whitmore, Tyrese, and someone that can be on the floor that will be able to shoot the basketball pretty effectively. So you're gonna need that's a lineup you definitely could use. You can't use Steven Adams out there because you don't want none-two shooters out there. You don't want that. That's a lack of floor spacing. But definitely you're gonna need some shooting out there along with Stephon Castle. I think he can improve on his jump shot because he does shoot 75% from the free throw line. So that's a good plus that can show the stability that he could really not down a shot, not down an open shot if he get into the gym and work on his 3-point ball. But other than that, that's a part of a lineup you can run with Stephon Castle. You got to just have a bunch of shooters out there. And him and Donovan Clean was on the floor together, and they had like 3 shooters on the floor with them. But again, it's the college game. It's the college game, and they were by far the best team in the country. So yeah.
I'm just noticing something. All the times that we brought up who we want to draft, not a single one of us brought up big.
Yep.
Why?
We got Şengün, man, and I'm not drafting. I'm not drafting in the top 10 with I'm not drafting the top 10 for a 7th man, 8th man, 9th man.
I mean, just because we got LP and we got Steven Adams, that's going to be fully healthy and fully ready to go. And I don't think the worst position on our team is the center. I just don't think.
Our bigs are great. Tari off the bench, Tari starting, Steven Adams off the bench, Şengün starting. I mean,
I don't
guys, don't forget about Jock Landale.
But I got a feeling we may do something with him too. We may do something with him.
The one thing that we should do with him is trade.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
No. That's the only option I'm giving.
Yeah, but other than that,
he was so good.
He was so good.
He was so good in the last 5 games of the season.
Yeah, and he played well all throughout from
the second half of the season. That Phoenix game.
When Şengün got hurt and he got his minutes.
Yeah, he played well. Once he got his minutes, he played great.
But there are a lot of very bad clips of, or not very bad, but there are some clips of Jock Landale that just spin through my head sometimes. I think it was against the Kings. There was one really bad mess up in the final seconds. I don't know which game it was.
But
every player does.
Jalen Green. You know what I mean? So
I can't speak bad about it.
Well, I mean,
you know what I mean, right? Like we got.
LP got hurt though. That Phoenix game on the road that we did win. That kind of got his confidence going. Making the coaching staff and the team believe in him more.
Yes.
And after LP, he carried that on to after LP got hurt. When LP got hurt,
was it like right before Jalen's injury or like right after? Or not Jalen's start.
You say what?
I think it was like right before, right after Jalen had he started going crazy in March.
Jalen started going crazy
in March. It was like the last week of February or something like that.
But he started it in Phoenix, though. I know he started that run in Phoenix. That was early after the All-Star break.
Mm-hmm.
That was early after the All-Star break.
For sure. So yeah, that's probably the reason why we brought up the center is we've got a good center rotation. We got a lot of bigs that we can insert small ball and whatnot. But obviously Donovan Clingan, that's somebody that we will plan on talking about in the future. drafting. He seems like a good guy, But Stephon Castle, good pick. I see us trading back for him. Here's my question: is I'm reading reports from SB Nation on MSN and the Athlon Sports. I apologize, I just butchered you guys on MSN. And he's outright refusing to play for both the Spurs and Portland. He says, if I'm drafted for them, I'm not playing. These are direct quotes I'm reading right now.
Who said that?
Stephon Castle said that?
Stephon Castle.
Okay,
I'm reading these direct quotes.
I'm not going to sit here and lie. Today's the first time I'm hearing about him. For him to go out and say that I don't want to be drafted by these two teams, bro, he's going to the NBA. I'll never have a shot in my life. Bro, you're going to the league. Stephon Castle, if you're listening to this, you're going to the league. Be grateful. You're going to the NBA. You're going to make more money than I've made in my entire life so far.
Yep.
And you get drafted to the Spurs, you're playing with Wemby.
Yep. It sounds like he wants to be like a main guy. And either way, if he goes to the Spurs or goes to Portland, or if he comes here, he's playing off the bench. He's not starting on any of these teams. The only team he's got a chance to start on
the Wizards,
is maybe the Wizards or the Pistons.
Or even Portland or San Antonio, where he doesn't want to go.
Exactly my point. So the fact that he's coming out and saying these things, that's a leadership thing right there. Like, he's saying, I'm not going to do this. He's not even willing to give it a try. That's a red flag immediately right there. I don't like that. Like, it's one thing if you're like, oh, I want to play for this team, I'm so excited. But if they're like, hey man, you want to play for this team, like I just think of the Wemby when he saw Rockets got number 4 and he was raising his fist. I just think of that play all the time. Like, I'm so glad, like, you know what I mean? So if that's the same thing.
He didn't say he didn't want to come to us before the draft. Big difference.
But it did give you an indication that he was happy that he didn't get picked by.
Right, but I will say I'm glad we didn't draft him. I didn't want him. I'm very glad we didn't draft him because Şengün babied him.
I was on air saying I didn't want him. I didn't want him because of Şengün LP. Because of him.
Not fooling with French toast.
He stood on business, bro.
Yeah, bro. He stood on business, bro. He stood on Wemby is what he did. Career high. Bro. Anyway, career high, baby. Wow, that's a lot of Şengün talk. I'm tired of talking Wemby. We can talk about all the teams. This is Houston Rocks podcast. Let's keep on it. So thank you guys. Let's move on, right? So we got Stephon Castle. That'd be a nice pick. We talked about Rob Dillingham in the past. I'm very interested to see like what we end up doing with the third pick. So here comes our next option. We're gonna talk about this one just briefly, just a little bit, and then we'll end up talking about our second guy. Go ahead.
I just want to go back 1 minute. Stephon Castle saying he doesn't want to get drafted to the Blazers or the Spurs is like Furkan Korkmaz requesting a trade away from the Sixers.
And he did, though, and he got traded to the Cavs. And they went farther than the Sixers. So hold on now.
Okay, but Furkan Korkmaz has no reason to be requesting a trade.
Nah, bro, he makes $5 million a year, bro.
Hey, you know what? And so will Stephon Castle if he gets drafted by the Spurs or Blazers.
Yep.
All right, we'll end it there.
Yep. Leadership thing, man. Leadership, man, is who you are as a person. That's what interests me. But yes, so a lot about to talk about with Castle going forward. Let's talk about this trade option for the third pick. Let's talk about the most obvious right now. Pick 3, Tate and some other filler guys, Jock and whatnot. Maybe a sign and trade for Aaron Holiday to the Clippers for Paul George. Paul George loves Jalen Green. He absolutely loves Albert Şengün. He had them both on his podcast. He likes them. He talks very high of them. Dante, we talked about this, like I said, a couple podcasts ago about Paul George. Ryan, I'm interested on your view. How do you think Paul George would fit on the team? He'd obviously be taking a bag. He'd be taking a back seat. And I think he understands that. He'd be okay with that. He seems like that kind of guy. But I'm interested. What are your thoughts on Paul George?
He would fit great on our team. The problem is, I don't want him.
Interesting. Why?
Cam Whitmore's going to lose minutes. Tari's going to lose minutes. Jabari's going to lose minutes. Men might lose minutes. We can't let that happen because that is the future of our team.
Mm-hmm. That seems like the theme is losing minutes for our young guys because then we're losing out on their potential, right? They're not able to get those reps, get those minutes. And we want to send them to the G League. Cam Whitmore went down to the G League for like 3 weeks and
He
was
was
leading
dropping
the
like
G League in
35 a
points per
game.
game. Yeah, like what are we doing here? You know, I'm not putting the men in the G League. I'm not putting
No, he had
Cam
a
Whitmore in
40
the
point
G
triple
League.
double.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not. You know what I mean? Like I'm not
Ridiculous.
doing that. You know, I'm not doing that with Cam Whitmore or in any players for that matter. But we can't deny that Paul George on the team would make us better, and
It'll make us
would
better.
make us significantly better. Right? We're
But
also trading away Dylan Brooks in this scenario, but it makes us significantly better.
This
Because
goes back to what we said last podcast. Are we a win now team, or are we? We're ready to compete but win later team?
you know, and I agree with you there because trading for Paul George symbolizes like
We're a win now team.
we're trying to compete because there's no way Paul George comes over here and is like, all right, don't want to ring no more. No, Paul George is like, all right, I'm coming to the team. I'll take a backseat a little bit, you know, for Şengün, but he's going to be our number 2.
Right, and I'm personally, I'm not afloat with the win now scenario. I don't like that. I would much rather wait if it's an extra 3, 4, 5 years to win, or even be competitors in the West, like super competitors. Like I would be much more satisfied with that because then I see the growth of our own players building together and building that chemistry and building a bond within the team.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what would make me happier as a Rockets fan.
Look at the Cavs, man. They traded for Donovan Mitchell too early. Everyone keeps getting hurt. Donovan Mitchell, like we said last time, only plays like 60 games, 55 games, right? So you're counting out 20-ish, 25 games a season. He's not playing. You're paying that man $44+ million to not play a third of the season.
Right.
You know, and so for Paul George, that's another thing is like his health, right? He's going to be 35 next year or coming in, right? He's expecting a max from the Clippers, $40 million. I'm not paying him and Fred VanVleet $40+ million a year. Fred VanVleet, we at least have a player option on, so we can do some or team option, so we can do something with that. That's great. But Paul George wants full control over his coaching.
When is VanVleet's option? Is it third year?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Good.
So this year it's 1+1.
Okay. Dante, what do you think?
Like I said, I think we can win with the team we got now, man. I really do. I don't want to mess up no one's growth of the squad. I don't want to mess over Tari Eason or can't break any type of momentum that Cam Whitmore them have. I think we can win with the squad that we got, man. Now, I mean, again, if it's Ime Udoka, I got a good feeling that he's gonna want more. He's gonna want more. He's gonna want to go for a win. He's gonna want to say, "I'm here to win." And you know, you heard it in his press conference. I mean, this guy is here to change the culture. He's here to win games. And again, if a Paul George comes on the table or something like that, I think he will go after him. I think now that you hear some floats in the air about Mikal Bridges, that that the Nets will consider moving on from him. Do the Rockets make that move right now? Do the Rockets kind of make that move right now? Don't be surprised if Ime, and we know Ime Udoka do got some say so. He do got say so who he wants and who he wants to get. So I got a feeling that he wants to win at the same time, but also it's gonna be. I think we're gonna have the guys that we need to develop also, but he's gonna want more. He's gonna want to win quicker than expected. I think that's the type of coach Ime Udoka is.
Here's what I'm thinking: we trade for Mikal Bridges. That's obviously not the same as trading for Paul George at all. If we trade for Mikal Bridges, I think it's just getting him to play the Dylan Brooks role that he played this year. That's what I think it is.
But I think he's a better player than Dylan Brooks. I mean, he's a way better shooter. I think he's a way better shooter. He can put the ball on the floor. He can make plays.
He is not the win now player that Paul.
No, nobody. Now, I don't think Paul George is either. I don't think he's the win now player either.
I think that if we bring him in, Udoka is going to see that as a win now type of thing.
Yeah. All of us is going to see that as a win now type of mode. But I don't think we're going to win a championship with Paul George either. I don't think we're going to win a championship with neither one of those guys.
And that's why I say that we don't trade.
I don't want nobody to be traded because I think we can win with the team right now that we got.
No, we absolutely can.
We won 41 games in a tough stacked Western Conference. We was the best 11 seed. We really won 41 games. We almost down there win until we lost that game against the Jazz, which we should never lost that game in the first place. We were gonna actually have a winning record, a 42-40 record in the Western Conference. We were the 11th seed. The 11 best. When the last time? This is the first time you've seen an 11 seed. You've seen an 11 seed have a
500.
Yeah, over a 500 record. So again, I like the team that we got now, man. I just hope we don't make no moves, no tweaks or nothing like that. Even, I feel like they're gonna make a few tweaks. The only few tweaks you need to be really making is, you trade Jason Tate up out of here. You trade him up out of here, and you possibly look at a trade for Jock Landale to move on from him as well. You may let Aaron Holiday walk, so that's where you're probably your guard that you may pick up in the draft. You just need to be some few tweaks, but I don't think it need to really be nothing major. I like this team that we got.
For sure. So speaking of major tweaks, the other guy we want to talk about that is definitely not happening now that the Celtics are having the easiest cakewalk to the finals probably in NBA history. Jaylen Brown, man. Jaylen Brown loves Ime Udoka. But he's got a ludicrous contract. He starts next year, right? The year that we're trading for him, starts making $49 million. You got to give up a lot. Go ahead.
He's also got a ludicrous left hand. I don't think I want him.
He ain't got no left hand. But man, he is a great guy, right? He's an overall good player. He's got, I think he has one All-NBA selection. I'll have to look at his accolades right now while we hear. But he's not like a terrible player, right? Jaylen Brown is pretty good. He's molded that shot like we talked about earlier. He's a surprisingly good playmaker. He's a good rebounder. This season he averaged 23, 5 and 4 with a super team. Right, because you got Jason Tatum, Kristaps, who averaged 18, Derek White for some reason, who was just just so good for literally no reason at all. But he's not bad. He's been playing an integral part of the playoffs this season. If anything, he's been their best player the postseason run, better than Jason Tatum. Other than like the last 3 games, Tatum's been going off against the Pacers, but the rest of the series, the first and second round, Tatum was almost a non-factor, and Jaylen Brown has been the best player. However, in a world where Jaylen Brown wants out and we end up trading for them, I've come up with a trade package, the trade machine, just real quick on Fanspo. This is likely going to be the package we're going to have to end up giving anyway. So it would be Dylan Brooks, Jock Landale, Tate, and Jalen Green for the 2020 first round pick, the number 3 pick this year, the second round pick from Golden State this year as well, the 55 through 59 protected, and then the 25 pick swap, either via OKC or Brooklyn, and then the 2027 pick swap rights for Brooklyn. That would be the whole trade package for Jaylen Brown and a 2030 second round pick.
2030?
That 2030.
No, I'm good. I'll pass.
So this is something that would be most likely, right? But again, so if we make this trade, we're a win now team, right? We acquire Jaylen Brown. We're likely going to have to also dip into more of our core 6, right? Likely, we have to give up Amen Thompson at some point to make another trade, right?
Nope.
Because Amen is just too raw. And for a team that's trading for Jaylen Brown, you know what I mean? Like, it's just too much. So I'm glad that we as a consensus, Dante over there sweat. He's like, bro, no, never. I'm very glad that we've got the same consensus here. Like, we don't want to make a trade. We do not want to do that at all. It just doesn't make sense. And again, I like Jaylen Brown. I really do. But I like him over there. I like him over there.
This is what I'm going to think. If we do make a trade for someone like a Paul George or Jaylen Brown or Mikal Bridges, I just think it may be you may throw Dylan Brooks in the move. You're gonna have to throw him in the move because you're trading for that position right there. So that's one. It's gonna be for the next picks. A lot of the next picks. So I don't think much of our core 6 will be gone. I don't think our core 6 will be gone. I think the picks is valuable. It's gonna be the valuable thing in this trade. And you may have like a couple of players go. You may have like a Dylan Brooks. He's definitely gonna go if we get one of them. If we get one of those players, and you can mix in some of the Brooklyn picks, or if you want to put another player in there, like a Jay Sean Tate, I wouldn't be upset. I would be down for that. I would be down for that. But the core 6, I think they're close to being untouchable. The only person that's not going to be untouchable is Jalen Green. I just really don't. I don't think he's untouchable. I think if the opportunity comes, I think the Rockets would definitely trade him. But
he's number 1 on the option for sure.
Okay.
Yes.
It's an interesting.
Go ahead.
No, you finish your thought.
No, I was saying, like, if we don't trade Jalen Green, he's got to show something. He's got to show something this coming season. That's why I think a lot of pressure is going to be on him. It's going to be on him to see if he's going to get that, see if he is going to be a part of the core 6 on this team. And I want Jalen Green to be a part of the core 6. I think he can reach his potential. I think he can still become that all-star player. But I just want him to get off to a stronger start than instead of having to wait on the All-Star break, just to have to wait on the All-Star break to get him going, get himself going. But again, I think Jalen Green will be starting as a Rocket this coming season. But I believe we're gonna look really hard to get a trade done in this offseason. I just didn't. That's why I don't think we didn't do nothing at the trade deadline. That's why I don't think we didn't do that. So we got the advantage with these picks, these Brooklyn picks. We got the advantage with these picks. We'll see what Ime Udoka and Raphael Stone gonna do, because Ime Udoka does got some say so what he want to do. He does got to say so.
Facts. Ryan, what are your thoughts on trading for Jaylen Brown? You seem to disagree like the rest of us. So what are your thoughts?
No, simply just no. It's too much.
Why? Why is that? Why is that?
It's way too much. I don't want to trade Jalen Green. I don't want to trade away all those picks. What else was in that package?
Dylan Brooks, Jock, and Tate.
Yeah. See, Dylan Brooks, Jock, and Tate, fine. Jalen Green, that's where I ended. And this is where I go back to Jalen Green, because this is what I was going to ask a little bit earlier. If we were to trade Jalen Green today, who would y'all be okay trading him for? Or what would y'all be okay trading?
It's gonna have to be with like a player like a Paul George or Jaylen Brown. It's gonna have to be a more proven player that has been there. That's why I think he will be expendable. But again, go ahead.
It just feels so wrong and so hard to try and trade Jalen Green away right now because of his potential, because of because of the flashes that we have seen.
If we're trying to trade Jalen, teams are automatically assuming that we give up on him. That's the biggest thing. It's not that they think that we're trying to compete. Like, they know that we're trying to compete. But if we make Jalen, if Houston makes Jalen available for trade, they're saying that we're giving up on him. Therefore, they're going to buy low on him either way. That's the issue. So even if we end up trading him, we're not getting equal value back, no matter what we try for, because his value, his potential is, we don't even know what his potential is. He's got a lot. He can do a lot of crazy things. Again, it's year 4. It's year 4.
He's got to look in this year.
I don't think
not even this year. Sorry.
No,
if it's not.
Go ahead, Ryan. My bad. No, that's my fault. Go ahead.
No, if it's not, he has to lock in this year. He has to lock in first half of this year.
Yes.
But I don't think we're gonna trade Jalen Green though. If we'd have traded him, we would trade him last year. We'd have definitely done it last year.
We would have done it at the trade deadline.
Definitely done it last year. But I think we can get away. Like, if we do make a trade, we can get away. We can get away without trading Jalen Green. We can get away. That's why I say those picks are valuable from Brooklyn. That's why I say those picks are very valuable. So we can get away without trading Jalen Green. It just depends on what Ime Udoka and Raphael Stone is talking about and working on.
Faux show, guys. Wow. What an episode. What an interesting way to end it off. I'm very interested. So next time, we're going to have a lot to talk about. Next time is going to be an even more fun episode. Ryan, thank you for joining us once again, man. Please, where can we find you, man? I'm just searching for you all the time.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. Again, my IG is RyanDime15, and so is my Twitter.
Right on, man. Dante, man, where can we find you at, man? Tell us where we can plug you in at.
And y'all know where y'all can find me at. Y'all can find me on IG. Y'all can find me on Twitter at Coach Dante31. the same name, man. I post, I promote kids, high school kids and stuff. And, you know, I promote the H-Town Rundown. You know, our reel just went over 1K, 1,000. Our reel that I posted of the podcast. And like I say, I like to get us out there as well. So again, like I say, shout out to us. Glad to have Ryan on the show, and we're gonna see Ryan. Y'all gonna see Ryan for the formidable future and stuff like that. But I can't wait. It's good to talk about Rockets basketball because we're in a good spot right now. We're in a great, awesome spot.
This is the best spot we've been in the last 3-4 years, man. It's so exciting to be here.
Yeah.
You know, again, 41-41, what an accomplishment. But you guys be sure to follow this account, man, at the H-Town Rundown. We've got a Facebook account we're trying to cook up soon. We've got, you know, the YouTube. Be sure to check us out over there, man. Our YouTube actually pretty fire. We talk about all the NFL stuff over there. It's very, very interesting over there with our main host, AD. You can follow him at Bully60. Shout out my boy AD. And then you can also follow this account on the X app as well as Instagram, same name at the H-Town Rundown. Be sure to follow me, your main host, Drip 2Ps_GAWD. Yeah, that's my name over on the X app as well as Instagram. Now, guys, one last thing before we get out of here. I'm giving away this Tari Eason bobblehead. I know y'all want it. All right, I know y'all want this. I need y'all to go down in the comments below. Any of the channels that we've got here, anywhere we posted, I need you to let us know. You know, whether you want us to trade the pick or not. And if we are trading the pick, who we trading it for? If we're not trading the pick, who we drafted? I need you to let us know. And go ahead and send a screenshot to any of our accounts at all, letting us know with your comment, proof, and all that. And we'll check it out, man. We're going to pick a winner here soon, man. I appreciate you guys for going out and doing this kind of thing, man. Anyway, Ryan, Dante, it's been a pleasure. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. Be sure to tune in next time at 4. Yeah, we're actually going to do it at 4 on Friday this time. And we'll see you then. Thank you, guys.